there, and welcome into another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX, at PHNX, in PHNX. My name is Derek Monti, occasionally known as your mayor of PHNX. This guy next to me, the one and only vice mayor of PHNX, the Thunderstick Jesse Friedman. And there is no, by the way, we have no connection to the bad guys from the new Avatar movie. I just want to get that out of the way immediately because I'm tired of people DMing me about that.
Wait, are they named like the mayor and Thunderstick?
No,
like,
it's worse than that. They're Project Phoenix, and the way that they abbreviate it on their little uniforms is PROJ PHNX.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's a clever marketing scheme on our behalf of the biggest movie of the summer. Of course, we're that brilliant. But we thank you guys for joining us. Welcome in. This show is brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. So great to see you in person.
Back
it feels like it's been
person.
way too long.
It has been two weeks almost.
Oh, I hated
it's been forever since
I hated it.
Here.
I was glad. I mean, I guess I'm okay to be around my family, but come on, like I can't spend that much time away from you. It reminded me of you being in Seattle again, and now here I go traipsing off to Seattle later this week. But great to be back in studio with you, and of course. Before we get to talking about ridiculous sports and things that don't matter, obviously we want to send our prayers out to Damar Hamlin, considering what happened in last night's football game. We know the entire world sends out their prayers, and it's been said many times, but sports are entertainment, and the health of well-being of these athletes should be everyone's top priority. I think that the right call was made last night. And all I can say is I hope to hear the best about that young man.
Yeah. It took a little while for them to make the right call, but logistically, I guess there's sort of a lot that has to go into that. But yeah, it's so true. I mean, there's a lot of reminders built into life of value every moment, and yesterday was definitely one of them. It's
not promised, man. Nothing's promised. Tomorrow is not promised. Remember that in 2023, and just enjoy the time. That you have a little bit more, I mean, remember that this is a fragile thing that we got going on here. But of course, we have to talk about baseball, even though it's kind of hard to considering everything that happened. But MLB.com has their way too early power rankings out, the very first power rankings of 2023 for 2023. And it's not great news for the D-backs. There's no earth-shattering prediction there about what they're going to do next season. I think that they have them finishing around basically where they were at the end of this season. So
something like that. Yeah. They have the D-backs ranked 21st, which is fine.
It's fine. It's whatever.
It's I mean, 21st, I think it may be a slight improvement from where they were last year, finishing 74 and 88. But frankly, it's going to take some time. Like, it's going to take the D-backs proving themselves before the larger baseball universe is really going to buy in on them improving in a meaningful way in 2023. So no shock here. I think 21st is about what I would have expected. If someone's putting the D-backs 15th or, like right in the middle of the pack, that's kind of a bold move, after a team just won 74 games and is only 2 years removed from winning 52 games. Like that would be pretty bullish. So even though I think we have, higher aspirations for this team and higher expectations for this team, 21st is probably going to be par for the course as far as what the expectation is from a national perspective.
And obviously this is quite different than like Zips projections and other projections that we've seen out there that obviously have the Diamondbacks with a winning record and probably be, like you said, a little bit more in the middle of the pack, probably more around 15th or so. But I guess the big question is, do we care about this? I know we're the ones putting this out there on this show for you guys to care about, but should we care about preseason predictions? Does this mean anything in the grand scheme of things?
Not really. I mean, I feel like in general, we've talked about it before. The D-backs, when they have expectations, do not tend to perform particularly well.
I didn't like that other thing about Torey Lovullo being manager of the year and Zach Gallen winning. I don't like that. I like it.
MLB.com is in an odd place right now where they're simultaneously saying the D-backs are going to finish 21st in they have them 21st in the power rankings, and yet they also think Torey Lovullo will win manager of the year, which I don't really know how those things coexist.
Me
but
neither.
I guess they have more than one writer working on these sorts of things. So
very true.
That's
Very
probably
true.
the only explanation we need. But yeah, the D-backs historically, when they don't have expectations, those are the years where they actually have been able to kind of rise to the occasion. So maybe that happens this year.
That same writer, Anthony Castrovintz, predicted that the Dodgers would win the World Series next year over the New York Yankees in what I think all of us consider to be the darkest timeline. Like that's not a World Series anybody wants, especially not after watching what these Phillies did in last year's playoffs.
To be fair though, like the Dodgers and the Yankees, there would be a lot of eyes on baseball. It would attract a lot of attention.
It would be kind of like a Lakers, Boston Celtics, NBA Finals, something like that.
That's
right?
kind of your marquee, like MLB World Series matchup. But yeah, Diamondbacks fans would be miserable, and I understand that.
Yeah, I'd be miserable. That's for sure. I know that for a fact. But that's not the only prediction MLB.com is dropping. They are dropping all sorts of hot takes. They have also named who they think will be the best player on each team in 2023. And for the Arizona Diamondbacks, they have named Corbin Carroll as the best player next season, saying Carroll might take the NL West and maybe the whole baseball world by storm this year.
That's bold. That's
bold?
Extraordinarily bold. Yeah. I mean, in a sense, it's not, right? Like Zips literally has Corbin Carroll being the most valuable Diamondbacks position player.
Correct.
So on paper, like, yes, there is something here, but also it's bold to take a guy who is, played 30 games in the big leagues and say, hey,
that's the part about
he's going to be the best player on the team. Like, it could happen. And in some ways, I don't think it's all that unlikely, but it is a bold prediction to come out and make at this point.
Well, and here's one thing. Let me pronounce WAR correctly for you guys. When it came to WAR, right? Dalton Varsho was the highest position player on the team. And now Christian Walker, I believe, is left as the highest position player. I think he had a 5.4.
In terms of wins above replacement.
Yeah, wins above replacement. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
So it is a bit open there, right? I mean, we know that Zach Gallen is always going to kind of lead the way, but now as it stands with Varsho being gone, there is the possibility for someone to come in and fulfill that same role that Dalton Varsho was playing, right? Corbin Carroll could easily step into that right field role and have the same kind of defensive season that we saw out of Dalton Varsho, but could be a big upgrade there at the plate because we saw him do some big things in the minor leagues last year.
Yeah. We have a wild comment. Restructure the entire league, have divisions based on pay. Wow.
What are we doing here? I don't hate that.
Based on payroll.
I don't hate that. Do I hate that? I don't hate that.
I kind of hate that.
You hate that?
I kind of hate that. I mean, it would just be weird, like having the league like segregated based on how like wealthy your owner is. I don't know,
but it would also require it to restructure, right? Because there's not going to be, like the Rangers all of a sudden started spending $500 million out of nowhere last year, but they weren't exactly
every
up there
time a
prior
team
to
gets
that.
a new owner, they'd have to change divisions. Yeah, I mean, on paper, like sure, it'd be nice if teams were competing by and large with teams who spent a similar amount, but I don't foresee that happening anytime soon.
I think the one thing about baseball is even though the payrolls are terrible, the situation with competitive balance is all over the place.
Yeah.
At the very least, how often do we see the team with the biggest payroll win the World Series? Not often. So it's not exactly a guarantee to spending money and having that equate to success. That's one thing that we have seen time and time again, and not just baseball, but all sorts of sports. If that was the case, there would always be some team just trying to spend a crazy amount of money just to try to buy their way into a championship. It doesn't feel like that's not a thing that can happen anymore. I am the Larry says Pirates, A's, Rays, Marlins in the same division. Nobody wants to watch that. Nobody wants to watch those teams.
I mean,
play
the Rays would just absolutely
dominate,
destroy.
Yeah, they'd be like the Yankees of that division.
If you throw the Guardians in there,
then, maybe. Let's get a little competition going on. Going back to Corbin Carroll, is the pressure building too much for our young stud? Is there too much for Carroll to live up to? And I mean, we are obviously adding to that when these preseason, expectations and all of our discussion about him kind of being the savior of this franchise, right? But is it too much, or I mean, based on you knowing him, do you think he's the kind of guy that can kind of handle this?
I mean, yeah, based on and I'm not going to say that, I know Corbin Carroll so well to the point that
Jesse and Corbin are like this.
No, I mean, he's a great guy. He has a great head on his shoulders. One of the more cerebral guys in the clubhouse, and the kind of guy we've talked about it before, where he thinks more than he speaks, more than just about any athlete I've ever seen. He's just very deliberate with his words. But I do honestly think that there's a lot of expectations on this kid, and in a sense, rightfully so. Like, the D-backs need Corbin Carroll to be all that in order to get, where they want to go. He's going to have to be a big part of this in a lot of ways.
Very true.
But I also think it's important to note that, like, Corbin Carroll, I don't want to say that scouts are divided on him, because everyone has him as a top flight prospect, but there is a contingent of scouts that look at Corbin Carroll and see a player who is good but not great, I guess is maybe how I should put it. I mean, you don't see guys that are his size become stars in this league very often, right? And there's sort of some stereotypes to, like, what is the ideal build for a major league player. But I do think there's some validity to that. Like, in order for Corbin Carroll to really, become the player that Diamondbacks fans want to see, he's probably not going to do it hitting 35 home runs a year. Like, that's probably not going to be his MO. And I think there are some concerns about his swing and miss. When he was in the big leagues last year, he did strike out at a pretty decently high rate. And it was such a small sample that we're not putting too much stock into that yet. But it wasn't like he came up to the big leagues and, had a 10% strikeout rate and was destroying the baseball. The numbers were actually, the surface numbers were good. But if you look at some of the underlying numbers of how hard he was hitting the ball, how often he was swinging and missing, he actually wasn't all that great, relatively speaking. So it's not to say that, like, he can't come out and have the season that we've been talking about here, but it's not a guarantee. And I think it's important to be realistic about, like, not all scouts necessarily see Corbin Carroll as like a 7-WAR, just all out superstar every year kind of a player. They think that's a possibility, but there's certainly no guarantees.
I'm Larry. I'm the Larry in the chat says, isn't Mookie like 5'8"? He's 5'9", which I question.
It's just you can't like Mookie Betts is an anomaly, right? You can't.
That's the point you're trying to make, right? Like, it's not to say guys haven't had that success at Corbin Carroll's size. It's just they're uncommon. The outliers. It's uncommon, right? But baseball is a game where there are a lot of guys of different size that all have their own success. Jose Altuve, I'm sure got a lot. There was a lot probably said about Jose Altuve not being big enough to play Major League Baseball, right? So it's like, we're not even going to get into, size impacting things. But it does. It's one of those things that scouts, people in baseball that kind of try to figure out how long of a career these guys are going to have and how impactful they're going to be. There things like size and strength and such matter, when in reality we've seen guys that are 150 pounds soaking wet, be able to crank a baseball over the fence. So I just think Corbin Carroll is a special guy. I think he's very mature beyond his years, like Jesse said about him being very cerebral. I think he is somebody that very much is ready kind of for this challenge. I don't think that he's going to shy away from the high expectations. I feel like a lot of guys that are in his position, probably guys like Gabriel Moreno too, they have always been considered one of the very best players in whatever league or whatever baseball they play, right? So it's not like it's anything new to these guys for them to have this kind of pressure on them about being the best. But I will say that, of course, there is a lot of baseball to be played, and it's going to be very exciting to watch this team. So if anything,
it's going to be so much fun to watch this team.
It's going to be so much fun.
I am so excited for opening day, for the Cactus League, for all of the things. It's going to be a fun year of D-backs baseball.
Pitchers and catchers report. We're going to be throwing confetti and stuff on our way out.
It's only like a little more than a month away.
I know,
there.
I'm so excited.
It's pretty crazy.
And we're excited to be with you guys. But in regards to that, I just want to point out I'm wearing my Team Marlene shirt today. And it was coincidentally enough on the same day that we received a very special gift from our friend Chris, who I hope is still here in the chat. But Chris sent us these wonderful. Wait, should we sit on the other side of each other? Like what? Wait, no, this is right. This is right. Yeah, there we go. Right, that's Cartoon Derek and that's Cartoon Jesse. And we were sent these for all of the shows on PHNX, and we can't thank Chris enough for helping us decorate this place even more than it already is. We love it. And Jesse was very concerned about his neck size, and that there was a lot of neck in that one. I am fine with my picture. I think it looks just like me, so I have no complaints. But of course, we want to give a shout out to Chris. We thank you so much for being our day one diehard. And of course, if you guys haven't had a chance to grab yourself a diehard membership, do so over at gophnx.com. You'll get to read Jesse's wonderful articles as well as his diehard only pieces. We also have a tremendous amount of things to offer you as well. Saul wants the picture now, so here you go. It's going to go up in our office and be forever a part of PHNX. But of course, if you get that membership, not only are you a part of PHNX, but you also get a free t-shirt or hat from the phnxlocker.com, as well as discounts over at the PHNX Locker. You get access to our diehard Discord lounge, which is the best place to be an Arizona sports fan, as well as 20% off of our events and special invites to events that will be for diehards only. But speaking of events, we have our upcoming inaugural Four Peaks PHNX Tea Party out at Dobson Ranch Golf Course. You will get a discount as a diehard for that. So right there, it's worth the money. Kids 10 and under play free, and there's also going to be a free kids clinic provided for all of those youngsters as well. That entry fee will get you unlimited range balls and a set of rental clubs, as well as 1 free hour of range time and golf balls at Dobson Ranch to be used at a later date. We will be hanging out with our friends from the PHNX Suns to watch the Suns versus the Timberwolves. Hopefully they can get their shit together by then, because I am not happy, and I don't even cover that team. But if they are bad, we will have all sorts of ways to distract you, including Jesse whooping your ass in ping pong, of course, so much more. Contest entries, including longest drive, putting challenges, highest score, and more. The golf range is absolutely beautiful, state-of-the-art stuff that I've never played on before, but had an absolute blast out a couple of weeks ago checking out the golf range. So make sure to join us. Of course, we are going to be renting out the entire driving range, hanging out with our friends from Big Drive Energy and all of our fellow diehards for a night of golf, food, drinks, contests, prizes, and more. We will be having food and drink available for purchase, as well as our friends from Four Peaks will be out there providing beer samples and swag. So check the link in the show description to reserve your spot right now. And for our diehards, check the Discord for your special link where you'll save 20% off on this awesome event. Gabriel says, I'm going to humble Jesse in ping pong. I can't wait for this.
I'm so terrified of how much you built up my ping
I've been
pong
talking
abilities.
so much shit. I've been the hype man for Jesse for weeks on
You've
this.
been talking it on my behalf.
Well,
that's what really concerns me.
You say I've been talking, but really what I'm doing is amplifying your voice. I'm amplifying the amount of confidence this man has in his ping pong game. You should hear the shit he's talking when we're not on air. It's incredible. But if you can't join us, make sure to grab yourself some Four Peaks beer wherever you get your beer. Join us remotely and in spirit. Grab that beer at your local grocery store, and of course, make sure you're 21 and over to enjoy it responsibly. Let's do things responsibly in the new year. Speaking of responsibilities, Andy McCullough has a new article. I know we're still harping on MLB articles and things writers are saying, but the baseball writers were making predictions about New Year's resolutions for each team. Yesterday, some of you guys said that we didn't understand the assignment when we were talking about our resolutions or resolutions that the Diamondbacks would make based on Mailbag Monday, but I don't think Andy understood the assignment here. I feel like he really missed the boat. Basically, to sum up his article or his piece on the Diamondbacks, he suggests it'll be damn near impossible for them to win the NL West. He makes that clear. But he does suggest that the trio of young pitchers the D-backs have emerging could give them a fighting chance. And by trio, he means Dre Jameson, Ryan Nelson, and Brandon Pfaadt. So I think going back into last season, an interesting thought experiment. Obviously, I know the Diamondbacks aren't going to remove Madison Bumgarner from the starting, rotation, right?
It's at the beginning of the year, probably not.
Right.
At some point during the year, possible.
It is possible because it's going to be based on performance and who can help this team win games. That's what it's going to come down to. But if you insert those three guys into last year's, starting rotation, right behind the two studs of this staff, and Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen, what would last year look like? I mean, I know we've attributed so much of the losses to the bullpen, and obviously there's so many things there that you could talk about how the bullpen would be impacted by moves, Madison Bumgarner maybe being in the bullpen, whatever the case may be. But there's just something very exciting to think about those three guys if they can perform the same way that Ryan Nelson and Jameson did when they came up last year, and they can be that consistent throughout the season. Adding Brandon Pfaadt to the fold, that's a very exciting proposition. And that, I don't know, there's just something about the uncertainty that they had last year, the number of starts where they didn't have, they had to have six guys What's going on with covering the Rockies in spring training?
Patrick Lyons is causing some problems.
I see that. I see that. I can't wait for Patrick Lyons to come here and challenge you in ping pong. But what are your thoughts on this starting rotation, though, if we think about those three guys with Gallen and Kelly?
It's interesting. I mean, the way that like his word for word resolution for the D-backs in 2023 is figure out if Jameson, Nelson, and Fott are for real. Which for one is kind of an odd resolution.
It's not a real resolution.
That's not really how resolutions work. Like resolutions are like very tangible.
Resolved
like
to give the young guys a chance, right?
It's not just like figure out this existential question.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do think this is something the D-backs have to make a priority in 2023 is kind of figuring out what they have in these guys. You got a cup of coffee in the big leagues last year from Ryan Nelson.
Right.
And Dre Jameson, and they were very, very good, right? There's no disputing that for sure. But it was only about 4 starts. Other teams are going to get more information on those guys. The scouting reports are going to get more refined, and both Nelson and Jameson are going to have to make some adjustments. And as always in sports, the key for these young guys is figuring out how well can they adjust, when their opponents are starting to adjust to them. So that's going to be a big question they have to answer. Frankly, if you're a D-backs fan and you're picturing this future trio of aces with Ryan Nelson, Dre Jameson, and Brandon Fott, that would be Derek. I would maybe caution you a little bit. We've seen some, putting together 4 starts is impressive, but it's really just the beginning of a lot of work that I think both Nelson and Jameson still have to do. And then Brandon Fott, having not pitched a game in the big leagues, we think he'll do well. I mean, there's a reason that Zips basically projected him to be like a top flight mid-rotation starter from day one because his minor league numbers were just that insane. So there's a lot still to prove here, though.
There's things that the minor league ball clubs don't want to say, like that either of those ballparks are hitter-friendly ballparks, but we know what's going on down there, right? So I think that there's some ballpark factors to take into consideration with Brandon Fott and what he's faced and how well he's done, his strikeout rate, a lot of positive things there. But like Jesse said, we haven't seen him pitch one inning in majors yet, so there's still that transition to make. I am very encouraged by Dre Jameson and Ryan Nelson, and I'm encouraged by the fact that they both came up and they both had such an impactful start to their MLB careers.
Yeah.
It makes me feel confident about how prepared these guys are, how prepared the Diamondbacks as an organization are making their young guys. And I'm very excited and very confident that Brandon Fott will have a similar debut in the Major League Baseball. It's just how like Jesse said, again, scouting reports and having more than just 4 or 5 starts in the major leagues. We already saw Ryan Nelson start to get figured out a bit towards the end of the season last year in his last start. So there is that to be said about these guys are still new and there's not a lot of information on them available.
Yeah.
I'm just excited, and I hope that their actual resolution is to let all of these young guys play and have that time. There were questions in the chat earlier about Evan Longoria, if he's going to be a DH. I think that is a likely spot for him to play.
He'll get a lot of at-bats at DH, I'm sure.
Yeah. As will Kyle Lewis, as will guys that...
Kyle Lewis, people keep talking about Kyle Lewis like, oh, how dare you put together a projected lineup without Kyle Lewis in it?
Yeah.
And it's like, hold on here. Like, he wasn't all that great last year for the Mariners, and they sent him down at the end of the year for a reason. Not saying that he couldn't bounce back, but we have to be real about his current status.
Sure.
Like, currently, Kyle Lewis is not someone you should be betting on to bat cleanup or something, right? It could happen, but it's a pretty bullish thing to bet on at this point.
Well, and to be honest, a lot of people were bagging on Evan Longoria. We had our question yesterday. Our topic is he washed, basically, right? But to be honest, a week ago, MLB.com had an article about the best available player on the free agent market at every position. He was the best available third baseman. I know it's after a lot of the top third basemen have already been signed, but they're like center field. There wasn't a lot of options out there to begin with in the first place. I think the Diamondbacks did the thing that they should have done. I think it was smart to bring him in at such a low amount of money, and I am still cautiously optimistic about his future with this team.
There's a lot of Zach Greinke chatter happening in the chat right now.
I don't want to acknowledge it. Do I have to acknowledge it? What's going on?
Zach, wouldn't it be
I'd
wild?
like to smoke a blunt with Greinke. What is happening, you degenerates in your chat? How did we get there?
A Diamondbacks rotation, though, with both Zach Greinke and Madison Bumgarner at the same time.
No. I refuse. I refuse to go in that locker room, Jesse. I am not covering those two fucking guys with how they are going to. No, absolutely not.
Greinke is a treasure, Derek.
Oh, there's
no disputing that Greinke's a treasure. And he was one of the 10 guys I brought up in my article of free agents that could make sense for the D-backs. I think that
you had
one
like 4 ex-Diamondbacks on there, though.
I did. But I mean, it's odd, but there's a lot of former Diamondbacks left in free agency right now.
I want Andrew Chafin. I want Andrew Chafin back. Give me him. Yeah. His hair fits in with the lineup.
Wade Miley.
It's perfect. Wade Miley was a good guy, too.
Wade Miley, I think, makes some sense for the D-backs, too. Wouldn't shock me.
All right. Well, it's going to be exciting to watch this team. And you know where you can get your tickets next season is on the Game Time app. If you haven't done so already, check out the Game Time app. You can save up to 60% on tickets when you buy them at the last minute. So you, me, Jesse, we're all procrastinators. We know about this guy fucking shopping last minute for Christmas. We already know about that.
It works, Derek.
It does work, and it works with Game Time. You procrastinate and you win. You get 60% off of tickets, and not just the sporting events, concerts, all sorts of special events. Go on to Game Time. I've been telling my friends about it. Like, I literally tell them, because we are procrastinators. We don't do a good job of buying tickets on time, but you get the FOMO, right? The day comes, you want to go, you see other people going. Get on Game Time, get yourself some tickets, and save money last minute. And don't worry about these, like me, where I buy my tickets 6 months in advance, and now I have to worry about how many events I have going on the weekend of February 25th. I literally have to go to Penn and Teller on the 24th, and then the Innings Fest on the 25th. And then somehow, Jesse, I'm supposed to be the wrestling commissioner for a pro wrestling event on the other side of town. Don't do this to yourself. Go on Game Time and get your tickets when you know what's going on. And also, have yourself a fun time after you come back from the concert. Grab yourself some OGs. What a night. That sounds like a perfect night. Get home. Enjoy your favorite flavors from OGs, because they're all about flavoring life. Obviously, I need them because I'm all agitated about all of these tickets I have on the weekend of February 25th. But get them for someone you love. Get them for someone you feel that needs them. They have a wide variety of strains and doses for you to choose from, and you can always find them at your local dispensary. Must be 21 or over to enjoy, and enjoy responsibly. And it's Mark Solera's birthday that weekend, too. My God, now I have to get you a present? This is too much. I'm getting emojis. That's why I'm getting him. I'm telling you that now. I'm sorry. It's not going to be a surprise. Jesse, I will say this, though. I love having Leah here. I love having Leah back. We are so glad to have you and to be in the same wonderful room as Leah, because, of course, we all know hockey and baseball, we're like this, right? We are one. These football and these basketball guys, they have it easy. We have to scrape by here in the Valley when it comes to getting people to enjoy these sports, and we do it together in unison. And, of course, baseball and hockey absolutely is the perfect match when you talk about the Winter Classic. We had the Winter Classic yesterday at Fenway Park. And once again, it's hockey's love letter to baseball. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
We have our guys showing up. Let's take a look at these teams showing up in, we had here is the Boston Bruins showing up in the old school Red Sox unis. They had themselves a catch out there, Jesse. They went out and had a catch before the game. Oh, look at this. These guys are ready to go. They're ready to play baseball. Let's get the one of him swinging the bat out there. Oh, this is the Penguins. Penguins showing up in Pirates gear. I loved this so much. I mean, obviously I'm a baseball guy, so this is going to get me right in the heartstrings, but I love these guys showing up, and like they could have just done the hockey thing, but they didn't. They went
These
all out with
jerseys
the baseball.
Are sick,
they
too,
are.
Honestly.
The baseball jerseys were sick, and the hockey sweaters were very sick as well. I like the old school hockey. When did this turn into a Leah appreciation chat? Let's get back to hockey.
Thank you,
Leah.
everyone.
No,
I
we're
appreciate
so glad.
you.
But let's take a look. One of my first favorite things was they did have Red Sox players there. Jason Varitek was in attendance as one of their their opening ceremony honorees, and Bobby Orr hit a first pitch. What was it? Puck pitch? A first puck pitch is what they called it.
Like a slap shot pitch sort of thing?
Yeah, it was kind of a slap shot thing. Varitek fielded it very nicely. The man still has the skills.
I love that they got Jason Varitek.
Oh, it's so great.
Yeah.
And he really fielded it exactly like we knew he would. But this was awesome. There was incredible drone footage of the event. Check that out on my Twitter account. But look at this, beautiful. This is just gorgeous. I did see the view from some of the close seats, and they weren't great. The farther away seats,
you go for the vibes.
Yeah, you definitely go for the vibes. That's for sure.
It turns out that a hockey rink is just shaped very differently.
It is
from a
shaped
baseball
very
diamond.
differently.
But I will
Just
say,
can't
I've
quite
heard
fit them together.
feedback from people who've been that the viewing is better in a baseball stadium than a football stadium.
Okay.
They do it sometimes in football stadiums.
Okay.
And I've heard baseball stadiums are better.
Interesting.
However, I don't think if Arizona got one, it should be at Chase Field. I think it should be at Sun Devil Stadium. But
hot take.
That's just
hot take.
It's not a hot take on the PHNX.
Well, here's the thing: is no other sport has an event like this. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
nothing else has an event that
Very
unique. I mean, we've seen sports try certain things, but there's just something about the Winter Classic that I feel like even if you aren't a hockey fan, you're enjoying this, right? Like you're going to check this out. It kind of feels like a holiday like parade or something where it's like the game has very little interest in itself, but it's just all the pageantry that goes on around it. Charles Woodall Pike says, this has always been a Leah appreciation chat. Derek, I'm sorry. I apologize. If Veritek can catch for a knuckerballer, he can catch a puck. He absolutely did too. You're absolutely right about that.
Sorry, Derek, I didn't show the photo that you were actually queuing up.
No, look at that guy. Look at that man. Can you tell me what hockey player this is?
That's Brad Marchand.
Okay, thank you. Because he doesn't look like that.
He looks like a baseball player
from like
the
1936. Yeah, he looks like perfectly transported in time to Fenway Park. This is like the new, this is great. I love this so much. Next year, they're going to have the two newest teams in hockey face off in Seattle at T-Mobile Park, where the Seattle Mariners play. Interesting to see if they close the roof, because it's going to inevitably be raining, right? It has to rain. I looked at the forecast for the next 2 weeks. It's raining every single day, Jesse.
This time of year, yeah.
I'm just mad because Seattle's been in the league for 2 years, and they get an outdoor game in their third year.
Yeah.
And the Coyotes have been here for 26 years.
Yeah.
And they don't have an outdoor game yet.
Yeah.
There's only like 4 NHL teams who've never had one, and the Coyotes are one. I think Seattle was one. Now they're getting there. So I'm just salty. But
they're going up against the Golden Knights. Have they had one, the Golden Knights?
I don't think so. But
Okay.
I think they've participated. Sorry.
Well, no, it's fine because the weather here is beautiful, and I wonder if that is actually the reason why.
Problem?
I think it might be because they want that aesthetic, right? They want the snow and all that.
But they did one in Nashville and they did one in Dallas.
Yeah.
And Phoenix is a little warmer than Nashville.
Did they put down
Dallas,
fake snow? Because
I will say that Craig Morgan was promised was told an outdoor game. Sean is shining a laser at me.
Okay,
so if I go
like this went from a Leah appreciation chat to there being like an assassin like red dot on her while we're talking to her.
Jesse.
I don't like this. We need to get done with this. But of course, we want something else. Like, how can we get baseball in on this? I mean, it feels a little bit like
does baseball have to return the favor now?
Yeah.
We have to play a baseball game on ice?
Yes.
On ice?
Yes.
You should. Oh my God. Like the lakes that freeze over.
Yes.
Oh my God. A baseball game on that?
Yeah.
Ice, they have to be on skates.
Skate
to first base.
We played broom ball. We know we can run on the ice.
True, if it's choppy.
I fell quite a bit, but you can play sports on ice in shoes.
Baseball would be like it would be really hard to hit if you were on ice, because like planting your feet and having like a
that was the hardest part of broom
foundation.
Ball. The hardest part of broom ball was actually hitting the ball. It wasn't the running part; it was stopping and actually swinging. That's when I landed on my hip enough times to go get an X-ray done.
Like, how could you throw a baseball as hard as you possibly can and not just inevitably start skating toward home? Like, your momentum would carry you.
Slides would be sick, though.
Yeah,
right? Like slide in the second.
Slides would be
start
amazing.
halfway and just make your way all
you
over.
never stop.
You would keep going, and it would really
never
work.
stop.
It wouldn't work for a second, only first.
Which is actually kind of a hilarious image.
Yeah.
Like Corbin Carroll sliding into second, and
he just slides right past it, right into the outfield. Just out into the outfield. Oh man. Let's make this happen. This should at least be a Sports Center commercial or something. But anyway, if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to grab the DraftKings Sportsbook app. They are our sponsor, and they are the best place to make sports more exciting. NBA season obviously is heating up. We know that the Suns are all over the place, so I have nowhere. I can't tell you to go there. Nuggets also all over the place. Can't tell you to bet on them. So I don't know what to tell you right now. But lucky I only have to do that one day a week, and I am totally not going to be here for that this week. So that's on Jesse. But in the meantime, you can prep for that. See if Jesse can maybe win you some money. You know, I haven't been so great about that. But download the app now. Sign up with our promo code of PHNX. Place a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA team to win their game and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's code PHNX only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And of course, like I said, make sure to check out that app around this time of the year. We have the college football championship coming up, as well as some very, very big basketball games, some very big NFL playoff games coming up in the future. So get that app, make sure you're ready, and opt in for all of those specials that they do, because sometimes DraftKings is just giving out free money on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. If you guys are here in the chat, we thank you guys so much for being here this week, all the time, 2023, 2022, whenever you've been here. We thank you guys for being here. Of course, if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when we go live or any of our other shows go live. Leave us a little thumbs up just for Jesse's self-esteem.
Just
not
for
mine.
my self-esteem.
But of course, if you're
after
listening
seeing
to us,
how long my neck is in that,
yeah, he's got
portrait.
he's all over the place now. I mean, his confidence is shook. Now would be a great time to play him in ping pong, because who knows how he feels. Like, he might feel like he looks like a raptor out there or something. I don't know, but if you're listening to us on your favorite audio podcasting app, we thank you guys for doing so. Please subscribe to us there if you haven't done so already. Leave us a review. We always thank you for doing so. Well, again, we want to give a shout out to our friend Chris. They are out there hanging up your wonderful pictures, so we thank you again.
Ours is now on the wall.
Ours is on the wall. We are
D-backs and Coyotes after we just had a whole
That's right, are right
conversation
next to
about
each other.
hockey and baseball.
Yeah,
I love it.
See, like this. But of course, we thank you guys for being here. We thank you, Jesse. Thank you for holding things down while I'm gone this week. Make sure to tune in. We're gonna have
don't thank me yet, Derek.
He's gonna do terrible things while I'm gone. I knew it. But thank you guys for being here in the chat. Of course, in the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Cap_Caveman with a K. This guy is at Jesse N. Friedman. Our show is at PHNX_D-backs. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Again, we appreciate you guys so much. On behalf of Leah, Jesse, and myself, we thank you for your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you play it on ice.